I think the biggest like asset as far as getting your stuff out there was after talking to Bob from Herkimer, the way you do those college programs with the sticks. I think any group would be crazy not to be, not to reach out to you to try to get it
Yeah.
because you kind of do the bulk buy and then whenever one breaks, they send it back to you and you turn it back into a stick and here we go.
Yep. And so we do offer a 3 month or not 3 months, 6 month warranty. So no questions asked, send it back. As long as you send it back so that we can recycle it. Um, and then even if it's after the warranty's up, like we'll still give you a $5 credit towards any order that you make through us going forward. So just encourages people to not just like throw your heads away, like, and keep coming back to us because we're good. We'll take care of you. You help us out. You help us grow the game. We'll take care of you guys.
Yeah, no, I love it. The sustainability of it all is what really got me excited and wanted to talk to you so we can
Yeah.
push out that group, pretty much the group, like orders after talking to Bob. I think that is so cool. And so the sustainability of this is like one of the few things that's actually I've ever seen in this sport or any sports where you're actually looking to make the equipment and, something that helps grow the game completely sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're definitely not the like first people to do it. I don't think like there's and I feel bad. My actual name recollection is terrible with like brand names and things like that. But there's a shoe company that doing some really cool things like with where we want to be, like being completely closed loop. So like you can buy shoes from them and then like when they're worn out or whatever, you can send them back in and the entire shoe is made of the same polymer. So they can just throw them in the shredder and recycle them.
My Yeah, my jacket's like that. I've seen it with clothing, but I've never seen anybody with a piece of equipment that's actually used like either padding or in this case the head. I mean, so it's really the main function of the sport. You need it. It's
yeah.
the most important thing. You can
And
play wall ball or throw around with your friends as long as you have this. I just think that's so huge, the sustainability part of it.
yeah, and I think that it was silly that nobody had done it before, just because pretty much everyone in the industry, with a few modifications and exceptions, uses pretty much the same material, um, and so there really isn't a reason that, at least within your own company, you shouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean? If you had thought about it from the get go, and from a money saving perspective too, it's like you don't have to spend money on brand new material all the time. And especially like we saw during COVID, like there was a huge like we were not able to get our like because the sorry, I get very scatterbrained, so I jump into different points in the story. But with where we started, we wanted to be 100% recycled. Like that was the goal when I, dreamed it up back in high school. That wasn't something that we could deliver on right away, just because there was no like stock of material that would work well enough to actually perform as a lacrosse head, right? So we went through some trials with like some PET, HDPE, some other different materials that we had a recycle base at our manufacturer in Boulder, because that's one of the reasons that we manufacture there too, is that they're 100% solar powered. The owner actually, they actually make money off of their solar power. So they, you know, power the entire plant, and he charges his Tesla, and they still sell power back to the city off of their solar panels. And so that's a huge thing. They love our sustainability initiatives, and we do whatever we can to recycle what comes in. So when people send in their broken heads, we just have to verify that heads are the same polymer, and they handle all of that over at the facility. Re Lax Collection, shout out to them. They handle all of our like intake, and taking mesh off of sticks that still have mesh on them, ball stops, all of that stuff, so that we can just get it to them. They can verify whether it's the right polymer or not, and if it is, we recycle it. If it's not, unfortunately, we do have to throw those away. But at least at this point, we're giving heads a chance to be recycled. And then down the line, that's what our goal is, to have enough of our heads out there that we can be 100% closed loop, so that we're using almost 100% recycled plastic, because it's all plastic that we have put out. So we know exactly what's in there.
Right. So I mean, if you
Um,
buy your stick, you know the polymer matches. I'm guessing. So you threw out some
right.
initials earlier. Those are just different polymer compounds, or like you
Yeah.
know,
So PET is your plastic bottles, like Coke bottles, Pepsi, all that kind of stuff. It's a recycle code 1. And then HDPE is recycle code 2. It's very similar to LDPE, which is recycle code 4. We've tried the Nalgene bottles. We did try that, which is a recycle code 5, I believe. But it's too brittle. In a
seven
in a
on this one.
lacrosse
Yeah,
is a 7. Oh,
this one
so a
is, yeah.
7's an other. So that one's like very, anything that's not your 1, 2, 4, 5 is like super hard to find good recycling for. Like those are super common. And yeah, from our research, it's a lot harder to recycle, and it's a lot harder to get anything from that. And so the pretty much every head on the market right now uses a super tough nylon, and we are no different. We use that base, but we don't have any additives or anything that we add to it, for like you see with some of the bigger brands that have their um, you know ultra stiff and all of that stuff. We don't mess with any of that. We just have the raw material, and we go with that, and anything that matches, we incorporate. And honestly, from just anecdotes that we've heard from people, just the overall durability of at least our more recent design. Our first design I designed, and I do not have an engineering degree. So the game changer was my brainchild, and I did that on my MacBook, and I'm very proud of what it did. It got us to where we could bring in somebody that actually knows what they're doing, and I'm very happy. I'm very thankful for him. He designed the Discovery, and that it's just chock full of great innovations, specifically the throat, like you can see on that picture there. And I think that that's been huge for us, and just the I don't know, it just everything that we've heard from countless people at every level of the game is that it hangs in there with any other brand, really.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I talked to the Herkimer College coach, and he didn't have enough good things to say about you. So you essentially hired an engineer. That's why I loved your story, because you could tell the more I got into it, the more I started talking to people that have actually like purchased things from you. First thing I did was go buy one, because I completely support your cause. I love your buy one get one policy that you guys do. But being able to afford the engineer, what is up with that throat? Because that is what sticks out to me as far as the other thing. I mean, yes, it's a cool design, but when you look at that, it's unmistakably a relax head.
yeah, 100%. And it's not just there to look cool. Like that's the thing. Like we are not trying to, like, we didn't just come out with the Game Changer 2.0, right? Like, or just the next generation, and then want to charge $1 billion for it per head. Um, we He designed that himself. I didn't have too much input, because I'm like, I'm not the expert here. Like he plays lacrosse too, so like I trust his input, and has a really great engineering degree and has a great portfolio behind him. So I'm like, you do this. Like we trust you. He came back with this, and really, so like on the throat on the inside there's a tongue, kind of like you'll see on a lot of face-off heads. And so we shifted, and I think there's an icon somewhere, but we shifted the shaft basically forward, so that when you're doing the table test, like you can see there. So most heads, they have that plastic So when you have this, right, I have the effects on. It's a bummer. It just floats now. Um, but like you can see on there, like with the tabletop, right, most heads have the plastic on the front. And so on the tabletop test, that's just negative space, right? As far as offset goes. Because you can only be, what is it? Is it 2.75 inches off the table? So that's that's like 5 millimeters to like 7 millimeters, depending on what head you're comparing it to. That is just negative, like it's not doing anything. So what we did is we shifted that down, took the plastic off of the top, off the front, put it inside so that you get that extra 5 millimeters of offset and pocket depth, right? So it's something you can feel pretty much the first time you pick it up and you start cradling with it. Because if you think about 5 millimeters, like that's a decent addition in pocket depth and with offset too. So the fact that you're getting a 2-for-1 in one feature, and we're not like charging an arm and a leg for it, right? It's $69.99, and so you're getting a truly innovative head that is really really stiff. Like, I mean, especially compared to, I hate these effects where whatever. Besides the point, it's way stiffer than our last head, and we've had so many guys in the box use it. Like we have Keegan Bell's going to be using it with Saskatchewan, right? The Rush. They're going to be using that this winter. And then we have Thomas Semple over in Vancouver that's going to be using it this year. And just, who is it? Tyler Ewan. I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. But he was using it this last season too, and he was loving it for the WLA. And really have had no issues with it in the box, which I think, as everybody on this broadcast knows, like that's something big, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
huge. You
you
see a
want,
lot of broken sticks whenever you're in a box game. You see a lot of broken shafts. You'll see the head snap. Yeah. So, but I mean, you kind of talked about when you did the offset too, when you talked about how you move the material to the inside. I mean, essentially that's stiffening it up with the structure, and you can see it in the shapes because you kind of notice, what, like you said, the big money sticks, you're paying, $100 and something for an unstrung head, which is not a sustainable product necessarily because yes, it may
right.
be able to be recycled, but it wasn't made out of recycled material. I caught that as you were saying you moved it to the inside. I'm sure that's got a lot to do with how it stiffened up, and I've got to
Mhm.
have to talk to your engineer at one of these points because I'm very curious. I love the design. Like I
Yeah,
told
he
you,
plays for Team New Zealand, so
okay, hopefully we get the World Games. I'll be able to talk to him in person, or if
there
he
you go.
is at Lax Night. That's another thing. If you guys ever go to Lax Night, you got to come up and I'd love to talk with you guys. I love what you did. We're going to be doing a giveaway here of your heads. As soon as I started reading the story, I went right online and ordered one. I can't wait. We're going to dye it up blue Squatch style. So I mean,
Nice.
there's no difference as far as you said. It takes dye like a normal stick. As far
Mhm.
as the consumer's concerned, you're just getting a high quality stick. I'll definitely let everybody know what I think about it. We won't get to play too much with it. I'm a little broken. I don't get to go very hard anymore, but I can scoop and throw. That's about the extent of my lacrosse skills.
Yeah, there you go. That's about all I have time for these days.
The whole recycling aspect of it. I mean, I've got your website here. The closed loop. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. So you got into this as a high school project. You don't have any like petrochemical engineering or any of that
No,
background. This was strictly just you jumped
no.
into it and said, "Let's go."
Yep. And then after, I was actually about to like just give up on it, not give up, but pivot, because it's a very capital intensive venture. And so wasn't getting, because I'm from Montana originally. I'm living, my wife and I just bought a house in Wyoming. So that's where we're based out of now. But there was just not a whole lot of lacrosse out in Montana. It's better than, Wyoming, but there's not a whole lot there. So like not a lot of people know about it. So there was not a whole lot of interest in investing in anything like that. And then during COVID, I had my business partner Adam Gittleman reach out to me, and honestly, I thought it was. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was spam. So like he got hacked or something. So, and he had sent me the link to the article that my local paper did about us in high school for this project. And we got to talking, and he's been great about bringing in the right connections and helping get things off the ground. And then it's along with getting more guys eyes on it and sticks in hands. And we pretty much have a discovery in the hands of pretty much everyone on the Utah Summit program. Bubba Fairman is in our the little video that's on the website. He's one of the main if you will actors in that, or models. And it's been great getting it a lot more visibility and usage out in Utah, and it's been huge.
Yeah,
So that's where it's been from there.
that's awesome. Now, your commercial, I mean, that was a very like professional, like nicely done commercial. How did you guys decide to I loved it. We got to clip that into the Nationals and I was like, "Oh man, we are really, legit now." That was my personal feeling when I saw it. I was like, "Oh man, we're really accomplishing something here." No, I love what
Yeah,
you guys are
that's
doing and who but that was just something you guys did basically in-house?
pretty much. Adam has some connections to some guys over at the U from when he was still coaching over there. Jeff Guckert, shout out to him. You can look him up on Instagram. I think it's like at Jeff Guckert, something like that. He's the one that did our video. And yeah, it was pretty much. I think he just got some of the guys together one morning and just went out and got the shoot done, and he came out really good. He's awesome. He's done a couple of things for us, and it's all been great. So
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for your time. It's been awesome having you. Great getting to meet you. Love what you're doing. Wish you guys nothing but the best. And we personally are probably going to be doing a lot more of the Relax giveaways just because I'm absolutely, yeah. That's, I think if we want to grow anything, we really got to focus on that. And I love how, like, even recycled computer plastics and stuff, you can actually, knowing that they're being used and that they're being used in something I love instead of just being sent to a landfill and burned off somewhere
yep,
makes me very happy.
yep. And the more sticks that we can sell initially, like the more we can close that loop up. So um, yeah, thanks for having me. Also, it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for the support with the NABL Nationals. Absolutely love what you're doing. Wish you guys nothing but the best.